Everything we know, from people and ants to stars and galaxies to quarks and atoms, the entire universe, might just be a simulation running inside a supercomputer inside an even bigger universe. Ancient philosophers said that the universe is a dream that we're waiting to wake up from. In this dream world of the imagination, anything is possible. All cultural items, from the dreams of our rodent-like ancestors, to books, to television shows, are merely permutations of the reality we think we live in. Today's age of computers and video games places simulations at the center of our cultural consciousness. A select group of us perform simulations for fun and profit, and we call them games, role-playing and otherwise. We live to run simulations. Join us on the Simulationist podcast as we explore our culture of simulations.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Simulationist podcast. This is the 136th iteration of the show, recorded on the 12th of April.
That sounds like an auspicious date, yes.
2015, and it is an auspicious date. We have some other people at the table today. One other person.
Guest host.
Who you
I count as multiple people.
You should all know by now. It is Jason Kirkby is with us today.
Oh.
There he is. Yep.
It's also an important date because it is Ryan's birthday.
And that's another important day.
Yes, I'm officially 35, which moves me into an older, bracket for, marketing. So apparently they're not aiming their marketing towards me anymore, and that feels kind of low.
Well, happy birthday anyway.
You can still partake of it.
Well, I can, but they're not advertising the stuff for me anymore. They're advertising it for a younger, hipper me that I no longer am.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were ever hip.
Hey, man, I had it rocking out at one time. I believe I did, at least.
And my name is Josh Trelevin, as it always has been.
The young guy who they're still advertising towards, apparently.
Yeah, right.
I've been calling you Jeff this entire time. By the way, Ryan has vetoed us singing happy birthday to him, so for those of you playing along at home, pause right now, sing the song, and then continue on.
Those of us who recognize previous iterations of the podcast realize the only person allowed to sing badly on the podcast is me. And as I cannot sing happy birthday to myself without sounding like pretty conceited, no singing shall be happening.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's my logic. So yeah, I do want to mention before we get into anything else, we are halfway through April, which means we're getting just before you know it, it's going to turn into May, and the first Saturday in May is Free Comic Book Day. Ooh. So start writing this down. Put it on like a little piece of, like a Post-it note paper. Go to the website for Free Comic Book Day. Find your friendly local hood, a comic shop. See if they're, a member of it. And if not, just keep expanding your search until you find someone who's going to give you free comic books. From what I've seen, it looks like they have a very interesting selection this year. Not just, superheroes. They got some stuff like Doctor Who, all sorts of fun little things, different styles. Surely something to, to appeal to almost everybody who appreciates the visual, arts.
Yep. So,
keep an eye out on that one. And don't forget, Free Comic Book Day marks just one more month before Free RPG Day. So that's coming down the pipe, too. So,
We need, a free genre every month, right? One free podcast day, of course, is every week. Every Sunday is free podcast week.
Every very late Sunday, sometimes early
Monday morning is when you usually get it. But
it's like having a tiny little Christmas present once a week. And we do this for free, because we're apparently elves.
Because we love you.
So
no, not you. Yeah, you. Yeah, there you go.
Not you. You know who you are. We don't love you. We know what you did, buddy. No. So, I just want to make sure, because, it always seems to go for me. It's like, what do you mean? It was Free Comic Book Day, like today? Like, could I still make time after work? Can I get down there? It's like, oof. So, write it down, make a note for yourself, keep it in your peripheral vision. Don't realize this at 7 o'clock in the evening.
So the first Saturday of May.
Yes.
Will be free comic books.
So yes, that's the big thing I want to make sure everyone knew.
The first Saturday of May is Free Comic Book Day. Now you have a rhyme to remember it.
Not a good rhyme, but dude, we're working free here.
Man, I've been reading Dr. Seuss to your adorable daughter, for so much. I just randomly start rhyming.
Yeah, I noticed myself doing that after reading Dr. Seuss. For some reason, you just kind of get the rhyme scheme into your head, and next thing you know, you're going along with it, and then it's like all of a sudden you have the urge to try and fit the words into rhyme. We're not Dr. Seuss, of course, so the rhymes tend to be really bad.
Oh,
but, whatever.
The worst.
Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about then for upcoming events that everyone should know about?
Oh, I didn't have anything this week. Yeah.
Okay, just making certain. So yeah, Jay, you've been in the world of fiction, yeah. Well, he is the special person.
Start with the guest,
yeah.
You calling me special?
I am, in every sense of the term. You are a special little boy.
Okay, just clearing that up.
Until the curse goes away and you turn back into a little marionette.
Oh, I was worried the curse goes away, you turn back into a girl. Well, you know what, I think I prefer girl to marionette. Yep. Definitely.
Well, if you want, if you turn back into a marionette, we can just carve you into the shape of a female.
Let's just leave it at marionette. If it's marionette, I don't see why we're piling more stuff on top of that.
Well, then we could call you Marion, the marionette.
Marion can be a guy's name.
Well, Marion Barry.
No. He brings up a good point here.
Okay. So yeah, you've been going about in the realms of fiction this week. What's caught your eye? What have you been doing in the realm of things that didn't actually happen?
So much stuff inside my head, but stuff that's relevant. I've been making characters for our upcoming tonight, later on, D&D 5th edition.
D&D Next, it used to be called, but now it's 5th edition. Or for those who are cynical, 5.0.
Or 5E, if you want to be hip. Not really. It's not that hip. Anyways, I really enjoyed the character creation. I, for reference, played absolutely zero amount of 4th edition, but I played 3.5 edition, Pathfinder, 3rd edition. You introduced me to 2nd edition, Ryan. That was my starter.
Back in the day.
Yep. And what I love about 5th edition is that they brought back a few ideas and have just really fleshed out ideas for personality and background and stuff that is not numbers, but it's role-playing, and I love that. Because sometimes my group tends to go way too far into the numbers. And I was even telling Ryan this, that with 5th edition, you can still do that. I could see one of my friends deciding which background trait, flaw, or ideal to choose based on the benefits it would give them. Which skill does this give me access to? Which tools does this give me access to? So they try to max min their character. They can succeed, but afterwards they're left with a flaw, an ideal, a bond, personality traits. They've inadvertently created an actually well fleshed out character with personality, even though that's not what they were trying to do at all. So it almost railroads you into creating a dynamic, interesting character, and you get rewarded for it. I love that. Inspiration points. Beautiful.
Well, you don't know
how they work.
You don't get points. You just have inspiration, which allows you to, roll as though you had advantage.
Okay.
But the weird thing about it, I've noticed, is that if you're playing your flaw properly, you still get an advantage. So, I mean, if Josh has a character that his flaw is he kind of likes the booze a little more than is reasonably expected. So, if Josh makes sure his character keeps getting drunk, he's got inspiration.
Cool.
So, if you were to, the weirdest part is, if you go to the Abyss, there's a chance that you gain abyssal corruption, and you gain a flaw. That's how they show the stuff, for most cases. And one of the flaws is that I cannot achieve my goals, unless my comrades can't. So you have to try and sabotage them. That's your new extra little goal in life, is to make sure they can't do good.
Congratulations, you're a psychopath.
But here's the weird thing about inspiration, is you can lend it to a friend. You can give them inspiration. So if I was to be playing with Josh here, and I've been abyssally corrupted, I have to try and prevent Josh from doing his stuff. And then I just thwart his plan. Just a little bit. Not a big thing. But I thwart his plans, doing whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I gain inspiration. And then, when I try and thwart him again, I can give him the inspiration I gained from thwarting him to help him overcome my attempt to thwart him again.
Huh.
So
it kind of works like a dysfunctional relationship kind of thing.
Yeah, it really does smack of dysfunctionality. So I'm going to have some fun, maybe browsing the internet and finding what different people have listed up for reasonable flaws that could lead out to very interesting concepts such as that.
Okay, so I actually don't even think it's dysfunctional. I think you can argue that as a feature for it, because then you're not playing to, I want my character to succeed and win at everything and be the best and have all the numbers. Instead, you're playing to make the story interesting. And it might be less interesting and also, let's face it, a little disruptive if you're playing a character who's actively trying to sabotage everyone else. So it's a way of helping that not happen while still being in character. Okay, example, my warlock that I'm playing, her flaw is that she's too curious. To the point where she really doesn't even care about the consequences, good or bad. She just wants to see what happens. I could see her, okay, well, the villain has an option. You can either save your friends, or you can see what's in this box. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a shiny little coin. You don't know.
The friends are friends, but the box could be anything. It could even be friends.
Exactly. So I could see her playing to the flaw, which would possibly sabotage the campaign if it's going to lead to the friends dying, but then using the inspiration from that to help her friends get out of whatever predicament they're in. Mm-hmm. Or thinking, well, let's see, I could kill guy. No, too powerful. Save friends, kill guy, get box. That's one option. Maybe.
The sad reveal is that you don't want to know what's in the box, because there's a very old mimetic joke about what's in the box.
What's in the box?
You trust me. It's not something that should be said on a podcast as civilized as this. Suffice to say, the more she opens it up, the less you realize that she wants to have opened it up.
It has Pandoras in it.
Yes.
So many Pandoras. All the Pandoras.
That's what Pandora's box is.
It's only 3x6 Pandoras inside the box.
And a Pandora is just a little panda.
No, actually,
winged panda.
It's a celestial panda.
Love it.
Yes, celestial panda is a Pandora.
I'd like to just be one of those comedic pie on a spring.
Yeah,
delightful. Which almost brings us into our topic for this session.
Well, we're gonna have to wait on that one. Other people have done stuff. Yeah.
We'll just quickly go.
Bad segs.
I just thought it was a good segue. Okay.
All right. So, anything else that caught your eye this week?
Nothing that I can remember at the present moment.
So in that case, now you seg to what Josh has been doing this week.
By the way, Josh is sitting to my left. What have you done this week,
It's a horrible seg.
I fought the Wither in Minecraft. That's what I did.
Oh!
I've done it before, but yeah, I fought a Wither. And
that's so far beyond anything I've done.
Yeah. And I went to a game jam, which I mentioned last week, and it was everything I listened to last week's episode, and I'll tell you all about how it's going to be. It was like that.
Oh, groovy.
Yeah.
Met expectations.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really good. And I also... last week of improv was this week. Not much to say there. Last week of one set of classes, there's going to be more too. Paper Street Theater.
If I could ask you a question about your Wither fighting experience, do you create a specific battle zone just for creating the Wither?
Well, what I like to do with the Wither, and because I'm twisted. Well, I don't know if I'm twisted, but I like to go find a very pristine meadow, like somewhere I haven't necessarily been before.
Untouched.
Yeah, and there's sheep frolicking through the grass and chickens, and the sun is shining, and then that's when you summon the Wither.
Nothing can possibly go wrong here.
And you summon it in the middle of the field, and then it just wreaks havoc, and it just wrecks the nice place. Actually, it's not that bad though, because I usually kill it fairly quick. But yeah, sometimes it'll kill some sheep, or the sky darkens a little bit when you start fighting it. So yeah.
I have noticed that whenever you're fighting a boss, the sky tends to darken. I haven't made to the Wither myself, but I've been doing the Tinker's Construct, and occasionally I have to fight a King Slime, and it's always it gets dark before I see the little health bar at the top. King Slime, whoa. It's oh, that's why it's getting dark.
Yeah.
I thought it was getting dark early. It's just, no, it's early in the day. I just got to fight this guy now.
One quick question about the Wither. What's the Wither?
What is it?
I've been playing a lot of Minecraft lately, so...
Okay, well, what context are you asking? Are you asking you don't know about it?
I have no idea what that word refers to.
I suppose it is a good thing to explain to those who don't play the game what the Wither is.
Yeah, it's a monster, basically. It's a three-headed skeletal flying monster that looks all blocky like all Minecraft monsters do. And the way that you get it is you place a plus of soul sand, and wither skeleton heads, and the wither skeletons are skeletons that you find in the Nether.
Those are big black, black bone skeletons.
Yeah, they're black.
And they're
I haven't been to the Nether since before. What edition are they on now?
183.
I think before it even made it to like full-on public. This is no longer beta or alpha. This is Minecraft now. I haven't been to the Nether since way back then. Even then, I didn't do anything. I just made a small little hole and stayed in there because I was afraid of.
Don't be scared of it. The Nether's not that bad.
A lot of lava.
Get a nice bow and arrow and shoot the gas and.
Well, right before I stopped playing that session, no wait, I corrupted it. Right before that happened, I just realized you can do Dead Man's Volley with the fireballs at the rate to shoot at.
Yeah.
Is it true you can do that with arrows from regular skeletons, or is that just people just making up stuff to get people hurt?
I have not been able to do that myself, but
that's what I thought. Because every once in a while, I'm on like a subreddit for that, or I'm checking out like a comment in a section, and then people mention that. So it always smacks me like that sounds like making like a cow level joke. Mention that you can do it and just watches people go nuts trying to make it happen.
Could be, yeah. I mean, there might be a mod out there that adds that, because it sounds like a neat thing that, it'd be cool if it was the game, if there was something, maybe not specifically to hit it out of the air, but if you had a special technique that you could do to catch
or
an arrow.
A shield with a special ability.
Yeah, I think that might be kind of cool.
I don't know about reflecting an arrow back, but I think hitting an arrow out of the air, like, just make it really finicky timing but possible, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
There you go. Mini mod for someone with the skills and the time.
I might look into that.
You can hope you know how to do Java programming.
I like coffee. What's in Java? No, I have actually done Java programming. I really like it.
Oh, then you're set.
There you go. Yeah. Or, you could just like scrape up some money and commission someone to do it. It kind of sounds like it might be the easiest.
No, I'd want to try it myself, just for the curiosity of it.
So you put some money together, and then you commission yourself, and you're not allowed to spend the money until you get it working?
Yeah, that's a good incentive.
I can dig it.
Did you ever make a golem, like an iron golem in Minecraft?
No.
Okay. Have you seen them in videos or anything? Seen them?
I might have, but I don't think I knew what they were. Ryan just recently described the process.
Oh, no, that's a Thaumcraft golem I was talking about. No.
Oh, okay, then definitely no.
Okay, so you
that's
just
very out of
you make
Minecraft
a T out of the blocks out of iron, and then you put like a pumpkin head.
Yeah, and it poofs once you finish the statue or whatever. It magically poofs automatically into the iron golem. So
the fun part though is that provided you got the T formed up, is like whatever circumstance puts the pumpkin head on there, it's run by that. So what you can do in a proper No, here's an interesting you're going to need a lot of iron for that. But what you could wind up doing is getting a lot of the T stuff formed and then have a big pumpkin patch and then just letting Endermen spawn. Because Endermen can pick up pumpkins and then they can put them down. So eventually, just by sheer random coincidence, an Enderman will wind up making an iron golem that will follow it.
Enderman trap. Oh, delightful.
Here's the thing, though. No, because the Enderman created it will be subject to the Enderman. So as soon as you attack the Enderman, the Iron Golem's on you.
Now, are you sure about that? Are you sure it would just default to be you because you're the player?
Yeah, generally, golems just prefer... Actually, golems will protect villagers, and
that's what I think it works
players,
as.
Unless the players already aggroed them.
Yeah, and that's what I think it works as. It counts as like the golem follows who, and in this case it's like either village of this number, because each village has like this huge long ID number, or like a character sort of thing. So which is usually you, but apparently can very rarely be an Enderman.
Huh.
Well, I'm
gonna have to try that out. I'm gonna have to make an Ender pumpkin iron farm.
Yeah. Speaking of which, though, I mean, you do have a little mod that allows you to create, like rotten flesh blocks, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about creating flesh golems?
No, actually, but that would be a thing to try. I mean, I don't know if they would be that different from zombies. It's just, I made a new zombie.
But it's a zombie that's under your control, right? So
okay,
like, awesome.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you can go with like legitimate golems, just reskin the old golem, give them new stats. That could be an entire mod, like slime golems, iron golems, flesh golems, wood golems. That actually could be a lot of fun.
Straw golem.
Some of those might already
Glass
be
golem.
mods out there.
So useful. They should do like a ton of damage, but take one hit to destroy.
The red flower golem. Daisy chain golem.
I'm thinking of an alternate definition of that term.
Oh, yeah, not that kind. The oxeye daisy.
Yes, yeah.
But you'd have to limit exactly which ones it could be. Otherwise, every time you put down like a pumpkin, it'd be like, oh no, you've created like a sand golem.
Yeah.
Every time I try and grow these darn, pumpkins, I just keep getting golems growing up out of the ground.
You could just limit it to not having additional blocks around there, because that also might cause problems with the golem spawning. If you have it like encased in something or like obsidian. Ooh, obsidian golem.
Figure it out. No, here's the thing. Would you be willing to try and get bedrock to work for that? Bedrock golem. You got to get down there and you start plunking stuff down. You start indestructible golems.
If you're
who immediately falls through the bottom.
Would you consider that as an option? Would you just go, no, that's completely over ridiculous?
If I was writing a mod like that?
If you were doing like a golem mod.
I mean, most of these I would probably veto.
Come on, like the straw golem sort of thing. That's basically the scarecrow.
Scarecrow. Actually, that one I would maybe consider. Yeah, I would.
Okay. By the way, if I could recommend giving it like really skinny long limbs, just to make it look extra creepy.
Yeah, sure. Like really long, like
Enderman length limbs,
10-meter limbs.
Just reskin Enderman. There you go.
With a head on, just a different style head. Then
I would add the bedrock golem, but basically the only way to do it is if you have a mod that already gives you a different way to make bedrock somehow, which I think some of them do, or you just hack the game or you're in creative mode. But still, given that option, that could be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. So the bedrock golem is literally unkillable,
basically, yeah. Yeah.
Could it also be uncontrollable? So it's like, this is your idea for doing something so stupid as to try and make one. Now you've got to live with it.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's hostile towards players, so it just kills you.
It's hostile towards everything. It will kill the zombies. It will kill, the players. Could you make it dig as well? And just that way you can't entomb it, so it'll slowly pick its way out.
And just to save on, because you don't want it to keep mining and just have a bunch of stuff just laying on the ground, which could cause lag issues. It just destroys blocks. Nothing pops.
No, once you create the lag issues. You're responsible for doing something so stupid, we will hurt you. We will create something that kills you and lags the game out when you come back.
Create a lag golem. Oh boy. I like that idea. You can just bulldoze through whatever base you have. And, if you've got obsidian, fair enough. It'll take it longer. But it's going to get you. It will get you eventually.
Yeah, and it just homes in on the player, just in the world, wherever it is. It just is headed straight for the player, wherever. So
could we also have just a lesser version of that where you trim out the tree leaves, you put down the leaves, you put the head on there, and all of a sudden, bam, you've created just a creeper?
Well, I've
as soon as you put the head on, you got to run away.
I have actually thought of creating some kind of creeper breeding mod. I think there might be one out there already. Somebody's probably done.
There's a lot of fun stuff with alternative creepers and some boss level creepers. Oh my goodness, that one looks weird.
How do you breed creepers? Very carefully,
at a distance.
Yeah.
Well, all you have to do is make sure they can't see you.
What if they get amorous around a block of TNT?
Yeah, that's probably how it would work. And then, they get too excited and they explode.
Just like real life.
Boom, boom, boom. I can't stop singing this bloody tune. Yeah. Creepers. Okay.
They probably explode and, that's how they reproduce, is they spread spores, yeah.
Because, officially they are considered a vegetable, type thing.
I've heard that in the lore, yeah. I don't know if that's...
So then, what if there's a small chance? With a zombie, there's a 1% chance. You kill it and you get there was a mushroom, or sorry, not a mushroom, a potato or a carrot. Mm-hmm. What if for the creeper there's a 1% chance if you kill it without it exploding, you get a creeper vine, and it grows out into a 3x3 area, and then creepers just start growing up out of there. You get little tiny creeper pods, and fully grown, and it just detaches, and you got another creeper coming after you.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Wait, does this mean that every time a creeper explodes near you, it's literally, air quotes, exploding on you?
It's no worse. It's no worse than hay fever trees, dude. Every time you get hay fever, that's a tree gasm.
Man. I just realized that.
Yeah.
There's one right outside my porch.
It's thinking about you every spring, buddy.
I thought that tree gave us a lot of privacy, but I'm really rethinking that now.
How much pollen does it pump out every spring?
More than I'd care to admit.
It likes you, buddy.
Should we talk about what you did?
Yes,
this week, Brian?
I came to a realization in the world I'm working at in Minecraft. I had a nice little palace for my peasants to live in, and then it occurred to me, because I went to like a neighboring area. It's like, okay, I gotta get some stuff here. I gotta get some blue wool. And so while I'm there, it's like, oh hey, like this guy's selling, for 17 things of wheat, I'll get a gem. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like back at trading. It's like, oh boy, I kind of miss trading. It's too bad all the trading back in my town sucks. And it's like, that's right. Despite the fact that I have a decent little population in my town there, it's like I never go trading because it's like there's not enough people there to constantly go through stuff and be something I want to trade with. And so this is I also thought, it's like, it's been a long time since I actually entered into that whole thing. At the center of my town is a nice walled fortification where the peasants can live peacefully and free without worrying about random monster spawns getting them. Dig it. I like that. But I don't go there. It's effectively just a big block I walk around all the time.
You're just their benevolent town creator.
Yeah.
You're done with that now.
And then I went elsewhere. And so I think, no, okay, what I did was wrong. It's not a place I want to go. And it's really just like one collar block and some fence and some acacia wood. So I could do better on a lot of counts. So I'm going to be forming. I'm taking it down, and I'm going to wind up building something better. I'm more of an apartment complex or style, so that way I can get hopefully about 150 villagers. Should be definitely someone I want to trade with 150, right? And so I'm going to be looking at making the whole area pretty, making it a place I'm okay with going into and going through, not a place I just walk around to get to a spot. So I realized that I have failed in my attempt to create something beautiful and functional. It looked good, but it wasn't a place I wanted to go. So let it not be said, I can't admit when I'm wrong. I'm fixing that problem now. But that means, once again, I didn't make it to the Nether this week. Although I've come to a decision, I'm not going to be making like a big prison complex with a portal to the Nether in that. I'm actually going to be hollowing out the bottom of the temple next to my town, and I'm going to be putting a temple, portal that way.
Oh, yeah, go well with temples.
Yeah, so it'll be a nice unholy temple I'm working on there. So yeah, I guess I'll have to find a new spot where I'm going to wind up breeding my snakes, though. Oh well.
I just had a thought that I'm just formulating in my head right now. A villager vending machine. You have a spot where a villager can plop down from above using pistons and redstone and all that. They can't move around, they just stay there, and you click on no, that's not what I want. Press a button, trapdoor opens underneath them, they fall, another one comes down. You need to find a way to get them back up to the top somehow, though.
I think people have done that with water streams.
If I could revise that, provided you make a decent population town, and you put your little pop-down area high enough, or close enough to the center of town, it shouldn't be too hard for the villagers to push each other in eventually.
Yeah.
And then if you use the Tinker's Construct with the smeltery, all you need to do is pop them down, see whether or not you want to trade with them. If you don't want to trade with them, you put some, metal, some liquid stuff in there, and then you wind up them, bleeding out liquid emerald.
Oh, that's delightfully villainous. I don't like what you're selling. Give me your emerald blood.
Yeah. And that way, after a certain amount of villagers who you don't want to have trades with, at least you get some emeralds, out of the whole deal.
Even have a sorting... Wait, no, they change what they sell. Because I was going to say you could have a favorite. It's like, I like what you're selling. You are useful to me. You get to go into the I'll keep you room.
Well, here's what you could do. I mean, if you have a liquid in the whole smeltery, then so long as there's some lava in the system, it will be heated properly and it will hurt them. But you can effectively take any of the liquids out, and so that way a person can fall into an empty area. Maybe they'll take a little damage, sort of thing. In which case, if you put it too far a drop, you're gonna have to be careful. Otherwise, their own blood will start causing them to boil away and die. But if it's a small enough drop, then they can fall down in there. You can trade with them, and if if you like their trade, because there's nothing in the smelter, you just make sure you take the lava out. You can chop away the side and move them to a nice little holding chamber of your choice, where you can trade with them through perpetuity.
Now, don't they change what they're selling after a certain amount of time? So having a favorite or a keeper wouldn't really make sense.
But if you do the second or later trade, then the first one opens up again. So all you have to do is, I guess I'll bite the bullet and pay a couple to get one back.
Right. I never do trading, so I don't.
I do believe though, if you're going through one of the more recent 1.8 versions, they've revamped trading, and it's completely different altogether if you use the Millionaire mod. So
Fair enough.
I actually kind of
idea.
As a nice alternative, if you get a Soul Shards mod, you can create apparently a villager Soul Shard, so that way you can have a new villager pop in every 20 seconds, and if you don't like them, then you can just wind up pushing them off into a smeltery underneath, and just keep on going until you find whatever trade you want, then turn off the spawner, and then just leave.
Now I'm having ideas about a mod for a programmable auto trader. It will interact with the peasant that's right in front of it, and if you set trade for this, this, or this, if it's this much of a ratio, then it goes ahead and does it. And you'd pack it full of whatever you need to trade with, so wheat and emeralds and whatever, and it would just auto-trade or auto-kill. And you could do that with redstone. And, so many delightful ideas.
Okay.
I would really like to get more into modding for Minecraft.
Okay, now, could I recommend a few things?
Okay, go right ahead.
With the Thaumcraft stuff, with the golems you can create there, some of them, depending on whatever core you give them for tasks, it allows to open up and say, here's the items I want you to deal with. So what you could do is you could do an add-on to the Thaumcraft stuff for a trading ability, in which case it'll go through its programmed area, within this radius of where I'm supposed to be. I will, here's the items I will pick up in this chest, and I will try and trade them for whoever I can talk to.
You know what? I think that first I need to just play through all of the mods first to see which ones already do
the major mods. There's an infinite number of mods, or close to an infinite number. You'd be doing
popular, well-known, these are good, and there's no horrible bugs mods.
Even some of the best ones have some horrible stuff. Apparently, you go for the Mistcraft one, and you try to do something with a biome for a magical forest, and apparently the game just goes cranks out nothing. It's horrible. He's still working on that, but so it's not going to be a permanent one. But apparently, it's
I would almost say that could be a feature, because you make the wrong type of book. You destroyed reality.
Yeah. You wrote an antithesis reality that was corrupts your world.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So long story short, back up your saves.
Yes.
Always have at least one backup going.
But I think that's because we're planning on doing a Minecraft thing where we're showcasing mods. I think that'd be beautiful. Trying out a bunch of mods to see what's already done and what I could instead build off of. Or
just what works and what doesn't, because, there's a lot of mods that seem to have a decent potential, but I'd have to sit down and actually work at it to see, and I'd like other people's opinions.
I think there's also plenty of mods that work in theory, but we're just not implemented well. I would like to try my hand.
In which case, if we can figure out what the implementation problem goes, if the person's still trying to work on their mod, bam, they're this is what you got to do wrong, and here's what you do right, and bam.
Yeah. Either try to redo it or just say, hey, I can help you with this. Here's an idea. I really don't even care about copyright, property, intellectual, anything. I just want this to be a thing. I don't care who else has it. I don't care who knows that I'm the one who made it. I just want it to be a thing for me.
That's
other people get it.
That's a lot of my attitude towards the mods I've done in Dwarf Fortress. Is it's you guys want to use this in a mod of your own, you want to use the coding as a basic, fine, whatever, you don't even need to credit me. Credit me if you want to. Hey, I'm not going to say no, but, when I put something out on the Bay 12 forums, that's for everybody forever. Anyone who wants it, they have the opportunity to take it, modify it, do whatever the heck they want. It's all theirs.
The one part of intellectual property, right, I love, and I think it's the best part of it, is this is free, you can copy it, you can do whatever you want with it. You cannot sell it, though, and claim it as... You can claim it as your own. I don't even care. You just can't sell it for money because it's supposed to be free. Because it's like a barter system. I'll create a mod, and then I've effectively paid for all the beautiful mods that I get to play that I didn't create, that are all free, that other people have just generously created for me.
It's shareware.
Exactly.
That's it. I think if anyone's like going to be like trying to copy and sell something like Dwarf Fortress mods, they're probably going to be doing that with Dwarf Fortress itself, and then they're going to have like the creator a little cheesed off at him because that's how he makes his living. I mean, that's all he's doing for his life, as well as a very angry group of forums, and these are people that figured out a way to drain the oceans dry in order to forcibly breed and then butcher merfolk.
Yep.
So, I mean, they're clearly, I mean, not the kind of people you want on the wrong side of their happy list.
It's true, and there's got to be at least one person in there who knows the darker side of playing around with the computer. The one who can maybe wreck your credit score if you decide to be a dick. So,
all I know is I'm happy, I make them happy.
Yeah. Yes.
C'est la vie.
Sure, well, and we're not saying that they are bad people, but...
No, I'm just saying it's not a group of people that you want to tick off, you know?
Well, this is like a group of forum where they did try and, create a system whereby you would guarantee all the female dwarves in the various militia groups were pregnant and carrying children continuously, because the children acts as an extra chance to get hit and not take actual damage for the warrior. So babies as a literal meat shield was a topic. They're not exactly the best of people. They're just it's a bit of a twisted perspective through a game lens.
Well, I mean, there's a difference, though.
Yeah.
They're mature enough to know that's a game. It's along the lines of walking through... Saints Row and tasing people in the face, because that's delightfully funny, and they twitch so delightfully, but then, that's different from, I'm thinking about actually creating or committing a felony and ruining someone financially. That's a real thing. But statistically speaking, it's the internet. If you piss off a large group of people, there might be one guy in there, there might not be, but do you want to take that chance? I don't.
All right, yeah, fair enough.
Don't piss off the internet. Good rule to live by.
I do recall one argument over one-humped camels versus two-humped camels as to which was harder to kill, and which is, tougher. And the conversation effectively boiled down to, you look at the number of body parts you can hit. And because there's a random chance of hitting a body part in most attacks, it's been upgraded since then. Depending on your skill in that one. Because a two-hump camel has two humps, there's one extra body part to hit, which means one less... a lesser percentage chance of hitting the neck or brain. And you hit the neck, sort of thing, you sever the jugular, they bleed out. You hit the head, you shove your hand into their brain and you kill them, instant death. And through that, somebody created just to prove the chances of the odds of them being less susceptible to instant death through something like a brain hit. They created the 17-humped camel. Just to show the odds of what the body parts are of being hit. And that doesn't correlate into somebody genetically engineering a 17-humped camel. But do you really want to take that chance?
Or you could I can just imagine a creature just made out of so many superfluous body parts that it can afford to lose. Just this mess of creation, all feet. It's just nothing but feet, like a shield of feet, and then a brain.
So a centipede.
I was thinking more like a foot soldier.
Okay.
I stole that joke from Control-Alt-Delete.
Oh, that's horrible.
Intellectual copyright.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't want to piss that off on the internet. I've already stated that.
I recall somebody creating a Baylor in Dwarf Fortress. Effectively, it was the Balrog sort of thing, copyright for the Tolkien estate, right? Yeah. But what they did was they surrounded the whole creature in various layers of shadow. So in order to properly hit it, you'd have to slice away the shadow, and so the shadow acts as an umbral barrier that prevents you from hitting the darn thing.
Umbral barrier, I like that.
Meanwhile, the whole thing was they had a tag for always on fire, so it was setting fire to whatever it touches. At the same time, it's enshrouded in shadow, so it's hard to hit, which is a very interesting thing. It's very, very interesting work done on that, and I'm glad I copied and saved the Baylor so that I can always check it out and see exactly what they did. Even if they didn't name it the Balrog proper and all that, because, everyone's afraid of the Tolkien estate. You don't even want to mention a magical ring.
No.
So, good places, and I think good mods all around.
Yeah.
But, But that was my big thing. Didn't make it to the Nether again.
Right.
But I have a good excuse. I realized I failed elsewhere, and I'm fixing my mistake.
Yeah, well, it's good. You'll never run out of stuff to do in Minecraft, it seems.
Especially with the extra mods I've got. Well, here's the thing. It's this last week I actually got started on the alchemy end of things. In order to do the enchanting and whatnot, I'm going to need the essence of this and that. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to do it. So I start off by throwing things into a cauldron and then throwing something else in and getting something out. And I tried that, and I was like, that's not bad, but it's hard to find the stuff I want that has exactly, the essence mix I want, so I don't have anything left over. If you leave essence boiling in a cauldron, it will break down and just create taint, and like horrible fumes come up out of the cauldron, or just like an ooze pops up, and just like, it can like cause like insanity and make you think the spiders are attacking you or crazy stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You don't want it unless you're enjoying like extra crazy fun time, right? So I found out, that's not too good. So I found a way to, boil the stuff off into its separate pieces. And then it's like, well, I got so much of this and that. And it's like, I can either put it into a small bottle in groups of 8, in which case whatever I'm doing has to work as a multiple of 8. So I can't just do one. I got to work it out to like a batch. Or I can put it into a larger jar, into a set number, and muck it around that way. But then anytime I'm throwing either of those into the cauldron, I'm losing the bottle. So I found a way to crystallize the liquid essence of all the various elements that create, the cosmos according to the Thal mod. And I can just toss that stuff in proper, so I get exactly what I want, at the dose I want. So I've gone through 4 levels of revision and increasing ability of alchemy this week alone. And I kind of dig that. It's like, okay, yeah, I remember just last week I was throwing dirt into a cauldron to make sure I could get what I wanted. Now look at me, I'm doing a specific ratio of this and that and the other, and back out it comes. Hooray!
I think that's really the sign of a good mod, that you can get into it and there's layers to it and you can do more and make it better and finicky and tweaky.
Well, that said, I want even more out of it, because now that I'm working at the alchemy stuff, it's like, oh boy, here's a centrifuge. I have a lot of this type thing. Like, I want to create something that uses the magic essence. So I've got this wood that gives me, according to its ratio, 3 parts of wood, 1 part magic. I need a lot of magic points to get all the stuff I want, which means I've got a huge amount of this, like essence of tree.
You've got a lot of wood.
Essence of wood. And so I was like, oh boy, a centrifuge. I make a centrifuge and I spin it out to its various components. And it's like, now I've got a whole lot of the basic, essence of reality, and what I wouldn't give to be able to take a few stacks of this and crush it into like some other components I need for like the shards I normally find in the ground. But apparently that doesn't exist. You can centrifuge this stuff away, but you can't combine it back together again in its various tiers. So I guess I'm going to have to find a mod for the mod to do what I want to do. And it's like, shouldn't the guy who designed the mod have thought about it? It's like, well, if they can split it apart, why can't I create something that allows them to mix it together again?
Yeah. Well, that's why I want to get into modding for Minecraft, because invariably I'm going to see mods and I'm like, this is amazing, and either it doesn't work, or it doesn't do enough, or it's not
I want it
working.
to do this instead.
Because, like I've said to you, my favorite mods for Minecraft are the ones that involve airships. I remember the one...
Archimedes?
Yeah, the one where you can just place a block and it turns whatever contiguous arrangement of blocks that you had into an airship. It could just be a flying platform. You could get into it and make an entire boat with that air balloon above it or whatever. I thought that was amazing. It was beautiful, but I don't think it works for the newest version. So, again, I would like to...
No, it is stable for 1.7.10, which is where a lot of mods are at until something like really groovy happens and everyone decides to switch up.
Yeah,
like, okay,
that would work.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like 1.8 has done nothing. They got the undersea temples, they've got rabbits, apparently a lot of nice little bug fixes and streamlined stuff.
Just a lot less mods.
But yeah, the mods aren't up for that yet. So until they start updating for the 1.8 stuff, it's like, well, I guess I'm stuck over at the 1.10 myself.
Jeez, I'd even like to take a look into their mod and say, okay, how does this work? Okay, how would I upgrade this to... Just upgrade it as a personal project and say, hey...
Legacy projects, yes. The Soul Shards right now has gone through 3 layers of people doing it. The guy who first made it, the guy who took over the project, and the guys who have done it for the 3rd round of stuff. And that's not uncommon. I've got a fossil and archaeology mod that's like a revival. It's like, oh boy, it was really great back in 1.6.4, but we kind of want to play it now with everything else.
Exactly.
And so they've updated it as well.
I could definitely see myself getting in on that. That would be beautiful.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's a niche, and it's clearly a well-appreciated niche, because people say, oh, I really like this mod, but it's not supported for the new version, and I kind of want to go underwater and see the underwater temples, so I guess I got to say goodbye to all my favorite mods. And you can say, hey, no, you don't. Not with me on the job. I'm updating stuff with permission.
Yeah, with permission.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Provided you can get permission. Some people just drop off the face of the earth, and it's like they never were online. You can't get a hold of them for anything. In which case, you just do it as a legacy mod. I'm trying to keep the spirit free, man. But yeah, it's been my week, getting deeper in, and I'm really digging it, the stuff I'm doing. And I'm happy. Even though I've made a mistake, I'm able to fix my mistake, and I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, well, as long as you're happy.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's always kind of a hard thing to admit this. Okay, what you did here, it's wrong. It's not working as intended. You've really flubbed it up, buddy. So, but don't worry. You can try again. And that's the fun of Minecraft is, provided you got enough time to pick everything back down, you can build it back up like Lego.
Yeah. I love that with the right mindset, Minecraft is effectively a really, really big Zen garden.
With monsters.
With monsters, yeah. Well, let's make it interesting.
It's a nice Zen garden, but every once in a while this plant comes up and explodes.
Well,
kind of one of them wabi-sabi moments? Imperfection within a world of perfection.
Nice. I am unfamiliar with that term, but I'm going
to... Oh, it's a Japanese term for, everything's perfect except for that one bit there. Which would be like the plant that walks up to you, hisses, and explodes.
Delightful.
It's the villain they need for the setting they've got.
Not the villain they deserve, though.
Oh, that's the thing. I'm thinking about
if what Minecraft players deserve is probably a lot worse.
Exactly.
I've seen a few PvP server plays, and yeah. Well, then again, I mean, you look at some of those guys like the Yogscast guys, Simon and Lewis, and all that, and I don't think they deserve even creepers. They don't know how to do stuff. They say I don't know how to do this. Where can I find all these things I need? And it's in the other guy's inventory. They're effectively unintentionally sabotaging themselves just because they're not putting everything away when they're done with one project before starting another. And so it winds up being the worst these guys deserve is a pushy pig coming at them. That's about it.
Yeah, I love those guys. They're great.
So not everyone deserves mega creepers.
Some people do, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Some people really do.
Spectral creepers, they phase through doors and walls. Hasted creepers, they move twice as fast as you do, and they can still move even after they start hissing.
Ender creepers, they can teleport with blocks and explode.
Hey, trust me, when you explode, you move a lot of blocks.
Yeah, it's true.
I think I've seen some of those in custom maps. They do invisible creepers or fast creepers or stuff like that. Yeah, people don't like them.
Definitely be tricky.
I do know. I do recall seeing some stuff with faster shooting skeletons that just cheese everyone off.
Mm-hmm. There was an update not too long ago, an official update where skeletons actually got quite a bit harder. I think it's a while ago now, but probably a few.
Oh, that'd be when they upgraded the AI. That's like when you look away from a zombie, look back. Oh, now there's 4.
Yeah.
And they can, follow you from an even further distance.
And skeletons got to be a lot better shot, which I'm sort of used to now. But
compared to how bad I was at the time, they've always been such a crack shot. But yeah, that's been my week, and it's not a bad week. I mean, I didn't do as much as I guess I wanted to, because family over and all that sort of thing. But I got enough done to realize, okay, I'm making the first steps at doing a better version 2.0 for the center of my town.
Okay,
I can do better by my subjects, or
right.
Peasants, or whatever I want to call them.
What was that segue we wanted to do earlier?
I don't even remember. Hey, you know what those two-wheeled devices that you drive by leaning forward, left, and right? Segway. So, we were going to talk about...
comic relief.
Yeah.
Which explains Jason's presence here this week. Not always good comic relief, but comic relief. Because, I used to listen to a podcast before. Well, I guess it was a little bit before podcast became a thing. It was stylized as a radio show, like a radio broadcast, but broadcast over the internet, and it was called The Maggot Show, short for The Maggot Has Nothing Better to Do show. And it was about basically like a guy in space, like broadcasting a radio show whenever he gets too bored to do something else. And the guy who did that, sadly, he passed away. So most of his stuff is really difficult to find these days. The website went down. The 107, podcasts he made for the episodes, it's like almost impossible to find anyone even knowing of. If you search, over on YouTube, you can probably find the first 7 episodes, as well as like a little hymn he did for one of the songs.
Well, I'll find it. I'll put a link in the show notes.
Oh, well, with a bit of a warning, and this is, their rating system started at PG for pretty god-awful. And the fact that several members of the cast were ranked on the Enemies of Sentience list, kind of says exactly what kind of people they are. But he wound up creating a game out of it called Star Thugs, and basically you're trying to move goods or steal goods from one spot of space to another, depending on what sort of game you want to play on that. And it was basically like space fighting, rules and all that. And I like the rules and the random tables for random plots and all. That's pretty good stuff. But what I really dug was the setting. You could just strip everything else away, keep the setting, and just put that for any campaign that allows you to drive something through space and hurt other people.
Right. To read that book. Just read it. Not even for playing it. I love reading it.
It was a very good read. And some parts were very like a sci-fi thriller. Most of humanity isn't really human. They're like a nano level machine bot sort of thing, programmed to change the course of how things go, to make the people that rule the area around Earth subvert things to their desires. So you got the aliens are trying to change reality. You're not a real person at all. Sort of crazy conspiracy stuff.
That would explain Harper.
And then you've got stuff they're called.
Might not.
No, he's actually this human, which is even sadder.
Yeah. But then you've got another thing, like a race called the Smileys, which are like a smiley face button with arms and legs, except they're hyper violent. They overpollute anything they got because their only industry is making war. And so they're psychopathic, violent, little things. Okay.
It sounds like a very successor to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
It did have very nice splash tones. If the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy had more guns.
Yeah.
A bit more cynical, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess now both authors are dead. Huh.
Mm.
Well, hopefully.
Long story short, everyone who writes anything will eventually die.
Oh.
On the other hand, if you don't write anything, you'll still wind up dying. So you might as well write something and leave the world a legacy.
Good point.
But so you've got the sci-fi conspiracy stuff, and then you've got and by the way, living not far away from Earth is this race of smiley people that like to shoot things. Everything's.
Yeah.
I recall one little mentioned race in our sector of the galaxy, which was mentioned as they thought that that they were like a psychic race. People had fought each other over stuff, but no one ever fought each other over a misunderstanding. Everyone fought over perfectly knowing what the other side meant, but nobody could hide any thought from anyone else. And then aliens landed, and they had to accept the horrible, horrible truth. They're not telepathic. They just can't shut up with their thoughts.
Okay.
And so they can't read other people's thoughts, but they project it to everyone else. Or is this out loud, just talking?
They
monologue.
They have no inner monologue. Any thought they have, they say out loud. Which means, if you're a space captain, they are nice to have, because if they're going to try mutiny, because they're going to be talking about, I'm thinking about mutinying right now. So it never comes as a surprise with them, the captain's, acting kind of rude, and he's not letting us have any, shore leave time. I think we should probably mutiny and steal his ship. It's well, at least you know why they're trying to do it. So, that's a weird, crazy comic relief. It's they all thought they had a psychic gestalt. It's no, they just don't shut up with their inner monologue. Ever.
Oh my god, just an entire race of villains. Announcing all of their plans.
Kind of bad mooks, because, when Batman...
I imagine, that might actually make a very livable world. If that suddenly happened on Earth, like there would be chaos. But if you grew up that way, it would be a very livable place because you wouldn't be able to have secrets. So I think it might be good.
And yes, the thing is some of the stuff he raises for points is like it initially presents itself as comedy, but it's actually secretly disguising a very different philosophy. Like there's one race that most of the rest of the cosmos believes to be violent anarchists, when really they're just incredible libertarians. They don't. I mean, they go and they'll like virus bomb a planet because of a marketing campaign, but only because they see intrusive marketing as a violation of your right to live as you want to. Marketing, in their perspective, is saying you should do this. You have to do things this way, and we're going to wind up lying about how it is, and all that to present a system of like why you should be doing it our way, and that is such a violation of their core belief of that you should live the life that you want to live as you want to live. So don't hurt anyone, not misrepresenting yourself and that sort of thing. And so what is presented is initially kind of like, oh, haha, they'll shoot you for lying sort of thing, is really just, no, they're heavy libertarians and their beliefs are actually pretty reasonable, provided you have an understanding of them. So it's like, oh, it was initially comedy, but now it's raising a very good point. So it's got very interesting. It's got layers, layers.
The entire setting?
The entire setting, has layers. Okay. Layers of comedy and intrigue and comedy.
Does it have a name, this setting?
Star Thugs.
Star Thugs, okay.
You should probably be able to find it like anywhere, quality gaming products are digitally, transferred and downloaded.
Okay. I find that when you're reading it, it really just seems like he picked a thought, just one idea, and then just went with it. Something that maybe started off funny, but then when you flesh it out, it has to actually work. It has to be reasonable or feasible. So, like the smiley face people, just at some point, like, I need another race. It'll be funny. What about something that looks super happy, but isn't actually really violent, like a smiley face with hands and legs, and it just kills everything?
That's the thing, though, is the smiley face image is not a regular happy smiley face. These are clearly a twisted, crazy sort of smiley face.
Oh, I was thinking just like beaming, happy smiley face. Oh, it's so cute. Blam, you're dead. But like in fleshing that out, you have to figure out more and more about it. So I feel like it's the same thing with the race you were describing with the super libertarians. He just started adding more to it, and it stopped being comedy in some points because he actually tried to figure out logic for how would this work actually, and raises some good points.
I should say, when I first hear about the concept of the smiley face race, it sounds stupid in two ways. It sounds stupid because the obvious thing is it sounds too easy to just flip it and say, oh, they look super happy while they're super angry. It's too easy to just make it the opposite.
They're not angry. They like shooting and killing and dying.
Or whatever.
They are, in fact, that happy all the time. Because they are killing things all the time.
Whatever it is, you're exactly reversing the expectation, which seems to me too simple. And the other stupid thing is just that's the only, that's the premise. But then
a little one-dimensional. Yeah.
I think you make a good point in that once you get over a little speed bump and say, okay, haha, I made this race as a joke. But if we go back and take a look at it again, we actually can do something with it, even though it sounds really stupid. And I guess that's the way a lot of stuff in real life is. It seems stupid at first. It's like, that stupid animal has a duck's bill and
they cut down the tree just to move it into the house, to put ornaments on it, to throw it out again 4 weeks later. That sounds pretty stupid.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's like, oh, it's a Christmas thing.
Tradition, symbolism, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and then
Alpine needles.
And then it also, and it not only does it have its own little arcane reasons for why we do it, because of all the backstory, but it also has forward story in that now you can tell stories about, and cats are always, for some reason, cats love the baubles, and they always knock trees over. You can go on YouTube and find cats knocking over Christmas trees. That's a thing now, just because we have that in our houses. So it does forward stories as well as back stories.
Oh, and just for note, according to the setting, the Smileys are generally acknowledged to be like a genetically engineered race, some sort of weird twisted joke that nobody knows who is doing it and quite why.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like somebody's idea of a joke, and now they rule several planets and like to shoot everything. It's kind of a joke that got out of hand, which might, explain a few of the other races. You think, they went kind of far on this one. It's like, well, like, refer to the smiley. It's a joke that got out of hand.
I guess that's the
describes the entire universe pretty much.
The other thing is, like, in-universe comedy, like, we mentioned before the podcast about comedy getting old and stale. Like, comedy from 200 years ago sometimes doesn't click with us in the modern.
Or sometimes what they thought was going to be like, this is going to be the progressive future of tomorrow, it sounds like a comedy to us.
Yeah, or something like that. But also, like, if you wonder, like, the jokes that we make, the things that we think are the pinnacle of comedy today, like, are they going to be considered kind of, like, just dumb and just, like, that doesn't even fit in the future. And the future is going to have its own, like, little comedy, like, that they call comedy.
I will say this. They were unearthing Pompeii and all that, and they found the graffiti on the wall. Because that's what everyone did, like, back then. Is they wrote stuff on the walls, like, reviews of like, the restaurant. They'd scrabble it on the walls and all that. And one person...
like we do now on Facebook.
Pretty much, yeah. But what one person wrote was, everybody writes on the walls but me. Which is a funny joke, and I gotta admit, when the first time I heard that, I had a chuckle. So, clearly, you can go 2,000 years, and a good, like, ironic little joke will still last.
So I think some types of humor will last, like that sort of expected, but then something unexpected happens, like...
Everyone writes on the walls but me, says the guy who wrote on the wall.
Effectively nonsense. There's a reason, I think, why insanity and laughter go hand in hand, like the Joker, because the stuff that we laugh at is inherently just kind of insane. Like, if you listen to any
I don't know. A lot of people who are legitimately insane don't seem to be enjoying it. They seem to be suffering pretty bad.
Well, I mean, it's sort of the stereotypical laughing madman. Like, not accurate, but it is linked, and I think there's a reason why we link that, whether or not it's always applicable and always right. And what I was going to say is, if you listen to the humor by, I think it's Louis C.K., a lot of the stuff that he talks about, a lot of the jokes are, if you actually think about it, it's really kind of crappy, bad, horrible, stupid, annoying stuff. But
yeah, it's just bad things that happen to him.
Exactly.
But it's the way it's presented.
Exactly. He's presenting it as comedy. Someone could present the exact same stuff in a different way, exact same content, and it wouldn't be comedy. I think comedy and laughter is just basically humans' natural defense of dealing with the inherently horrible and just stupid, inane, random stuff that happens. You need to be able to parse that. When something happens that just has no meaning, no reason, no context, like, the whole goal of your brain is to figure stuff out. It's what it's doing since you're born, is to piece stuff together. So when something happens that just doesn't make sense, like, everyone writes on the walls but me. It's a statement that's obviously untrue, because it's on the wall. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny there, just because it doesn't quite make sense. So the natural reaction is laughter. I mean, laughter itself is kind of weird.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, though, for laughter's act. Because if you had to try, if you were going to laugh every time you had to try and make sense of bad reality, then you'd see more people laughing like maniacs whenever they get into a car accident.
Well, I think that's...
Most people are swearing when they get into a car accident.
To different people, I mean, humor is... some people have a bit more of a threshold for what you're going to laugh at and what you're going to take seriously, and it largely depends on the setting.
Well, then why do people cry at funerals rather than laugh? Why did he have to go? That's so hilarious.
Well, I mean...
He was so well loved by the community and his family. I can't stop laughing.
Well, I mean...
You hear about...
Some parts of it.
Like, I've heard stories about funerals of comedians, and they talk about like, it's nonstop laughing and crying at the same time. Yeah. When a comedian dies and, like, they have a funeral for him, it's both, because they have comedian friends who are
I can imagine.
Funny.
I can imagine that it'd be very hard not to crack a quick little one-liner when the opportunity presents at a comedian's funeral.
It's very, like, I think I heard it about Robin Williams' funeral, because that just happened in the last year.
Fairly recently, yeah.
And they were saying that, simultaneously, both of those things are exactly at the same time happening, and you can't even tell those two emotions apart, because it's happening so close, it's just... laugh, cry.
Well, I think my theory is that laughter in comedy is just the natural defense for if you just looked at all the horrible stuff that happens that you were aware of and cognizant of, and you weren't able to laugh at least some part of it, that would just destroy you. If you just didn't have a sense of humor, that would be a horrible existence. Yeah. I think we need to be able to laugh at, sometimes you're just having such a bad day where everything goes wrong, just against all odds, that sometimes just, you look at it from the outside and think, this is so bad, it's funny. But I've had that happen. I've had days that are so bad, I've actually laughed to myself, like, everything goes bad, and then one little thing on top of it, like, oh, elevator's out of order, I have to walk up 20 flights of stairs, why not? And you just sort of chuckle at it, if you have that sense of humor. So that's why I think a sense of humor, a well-developed one, is healthy.
But if that was true, then more people would wind up at the end of a bad day, you know, like buying a book of jokes as opposed to a shotgun and finding the nearest, you know, like tower or area to start picking people off from.
Well, I mean, we turn to
depends on the brain.
Entertainment. When we have just everybody has access to. Well, we have the internet now, but also everybody has access to television, and there's funny shows on, you know, almost all the time. You can always find something funny on TV.
Or trying to be funny, at least.
And maybe that
works.
I mean, I wonder, like, would the world suddenly commit suicide if we got rid of all the comedy in the world? What would happen? Like, if we got rid of... And this is... Okay,
if the internet goes down for 24 hours.
A natural human reaction is we have this built-in... to react to comedy by, you know, suddenly we break and we laugh.
Why do some things, for no good reason, make us happy?
Yeah.
Why does someone writing a false statement on a wall make some people happy? Why?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me.
The other thing is, it doesn't naturally happen at the same rate for everyone. I mean, eventually, I suppose you have a release valve. But also, we have sort of professional, we have comedians, and we have people who tell stories, storytellers, shamans, podcasters, if we can be so self-indulgent.
Techno-shaman.
I love the archetype of jester. I want to talk about that.
That's good, yeah. So we have these people who are able to take in sort of the stories and, oh, you had a bad day. Well, let's tell a story about that, and let's see what, you know, this bad thing happened to you. Well, is that funny? And they can make a joke about it or shine a new light on it, and then the person's like, oh, thank you. Like, somebody understands me, and I can laugh, or...
Exactly. Framing it in the right way.
Was the book of Job, then, supposed to be like
Maybe,
a comedy
yeah.
instead of just the really worst story in the Bible?
Could have been.
Maybe the humor just doesn't translate down through time in that case. It's like you're all supposed to laugh at Job. It's like, that was hilarious. Thanks, guys. The rest of the book was pretty dry, but that chapter couldn't keep my eyes dry. It was hilarious. Is that how it's supposed to be? And it's just like because things have changed, as we read it now, go, whoa, man, that was a horrible thing that happened to him, just to prove a point to Satan himself. It's like we just don't get it anymore.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
The things we could find out if we had a time machine.
Go back to see the guy who wrote the Book of Job.
Just go back, like, you know, a few 1,000 or so years, and it's like, hey, you, is this funny?
So why
would you think that's funny, you horrible person?
All we realize in the end is that none of us know ancient Aramaic, and we accidentally unleashed at least one plague due to our natural, you know, virus load. Whoops! I guess there never was a Middle East after, you know, like 34 B, you know, AD, because we wound up killing everyone with our natural common cold. Sorry, our bad.
I wanted to also go back just a second to the writing on the bathroom or on the wall.
I don't know if it was a bathroom wall. I think it was an alley wall, yeah.
Okay. And I was going to say it wasn't funny until I put a sort of a character to it, because once you start telling a story about the person, it's like, oh, this is, you know, now we have a story about a sad sack who doesn't fit in. He's like, everybody's writing on the wall. What can I write on the wall? So now we have this person, and that's funny. Like, maybe the writing itself I didn't find that funny, but when I think about his story, and that actually sort of, to me, that's what clicks.
So like a comparison, like a Rodney Dangerfield kind of, I don't get no respect sort of thing, you know, it's like, everyone writes on the walls but me, as opposed to, you know,
and he's like racking his brain. He's like, you know, this world is not accepting me. Like, I have, like, what do I have to offer? What can I write on the wall?
Just wish Vesuvius would go on up in a huge blast and just let us just clear everything out. Dah! Although
irony.
I will also note, I did recall reading a story in the news. It should be a couple of years ago now, where they traced back the oldest joke they could possibly find. It was an ancient Sumerian thing. It was like several thousand years old. It's a fart joke. Mm-hmm. Some things are universal. I remember reading the joke, and it's like, it's actually kind of a lame joke. You know nothing about setting up and style and pattern and stuff like that. But I guess, like any joke back then was a new joke, so it doesn't matter how badly you tell it. Fart joke, haha.
Yeah, well, my thought on that joke is that it's only half, like it's the second half of a joke, because I think there could be a better setup, but I haven't figured out what that is yet. But
see, I think that speaks a lot to the fact that everyone does have different comedic tastes, because I think it's probably more recent in our evolution to have humor or comedy, because I don't imagine cats tell jokes, but then I wouldn't really know. I don't speak cat.
Yeah, cats don't seem to laugh, or dogs for that matter.
Hey, dogs laugh pretty good, sort of thing. No, some dogs will laugh at pretty much anything. They're just happy and, oh boy, I got two masters around me.
Well, they look...
It's not so much
you
humor
tried
as
to throw
being
them all.
perpetually good
maybe
humor.
Just sort of happy, just generally upbeat.
Well, let's look at primates. I wonder if monkeys, they got the smile thing going on, that goofy grin that they do.
Monkeys laugh.
I think monkeys laugh. I think I've seen a Jane Goodall thing.
I believe apes laugh too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder how far back you have to go in evolution before you didn't have comedy anymore, or maybe that's why we're at the top of the food chain. It's not intelligence. Maybe it's comedy.
We can't kill and eat these guys. They're too funny.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, just look at how most young animals wind up playing with each other. That's clearly like a humorous form, so I think they're entertaining each other, and that's kind of like the basis of humor is entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So you can make an argument that any animals that play, like little games with each other, for fun, as like a proto humor.
Well, is there a difference between a game and a joke?
Well, if you wind up hiding, say it's two cats hiding, the mouse on one from the other. It's like, oh, where'd the mouse go? He disappeared, sort of thing. That's clearly like a joke, right?
I guess a joke, the structure of a joke is almost like a game in that you have to work it out.
Something unexpected. You can't. It's not funny if you know the punchline. For the cats, it's the hiding of the mouse. It's the playing is, there has to be an unexpected or a surprise or something.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, no matter how surprised the mouse is, he ain't finding the situation very funny.
No,
right.
I think unless he's like, oh man, and now I'm getting chased by a cat. This is ridiculous.
A joke has to have sort of at least two components that are basically two separate components.
Set up and delivery.
That use maybe some sort of common element. That it's first you're thinking this, and then you have to switch to a different.
For instance, take my wife, please. Set up, delivery.
Yeah, two different.
By the way, that's an old joke in itself that most people don't find funny anymore. So clearly, there's something about repetition that decreases the level of funny.
Yeah, I'd say it's still funny.
Was the chicken crossing the road joke ever actually funny? What's the best interpretation I can get of why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. The other side meaning the other side of the road, and also the other side, the afterlife, because you're going to get hit by a car while crossing the road.
No.
When I first realized that, I thought, oh, that's actually kind of funny.
No.
I just never got it. I love that interpretation.
No. It's a setup and non-delivery, which is the joke. What do you call someone who graduated the bottom of his class in the medical departments?
A doctor.
Yeah.
What'd the farmer say when he lost his tractor?
Where's my tractor?
Exactly.
It's the non-delivery that winds up being the twist. You expect the twist and it's delivered straight.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call bread made by a water buffalo?
Bread?
Unsanitary.
That's not. I don't like that. But
I think the chicken joke just isn't funny because everyone knows the punchline, so there's no unexpected non-joke.
Well, we know it.
You're already not expecting a punchline because you're like, oh, I know the answer to this one. It's stupid.
So in which case, the chicken and crossing the road is the non-joke joke.
Interesting.
Why did anything cross the road ostensibly to get to the other side? Why does it have to be a chicken? Why does it have to be a road? And, sort of thing. It's just like extra stuff going on there. It makes you think there's going to be a punchline, but no, there actually is none, and that itself is the punchline.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Mm-hmm. In which case, I believe that qualifies as a meta joke.
Yeah, it might be one of the older meta jokes.
But here's an interesting thing, though, as we mentioned, is like the more you encounter the joke, the less funny it tends to be, with the exception of like running gags.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, I remember watching just a couple weeks ago an old Don Knotts movie called The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. And in it, there's one guy somewhere in the back of wherever someone's making a thing. He was like, "Attaboy, Luther! Attaboy, Judge!" And like the first time it happens, like the guy's trying to give a speech, and he's like, "Attaboy, Luther!" And everyone's like, "Okay, thank you," and all that. And the guy keeps showing up somewhere in the background. You never get to see who the heck this guy is. He's like, "Attaboy, Judge! Attaboy, guy!" And it's just, it gets funnier the more you hear it. But with that exception sort of thing, most jokes get less funny the more you hear it. So if you were to incorporate like a campaign sort of thing that has humor, something like with Star Thugs and the Smileys, or I guess in a more mainstream example, the Dragonlance setting with the Kender, who are clearly a comic relief sort of character. Like, what does that say? Like how do you keep that from getting to be an old joke that's just really, like run out of its lifespan? It's a dead joke.
Well, repetition is fun because each time you repeat, you're playing on a different expectation. It's like the second time you say it, it's like, oh, I didn't expect him to say the same thing twice.
Yeah, first time it's not a joke.
The first time it might be, kind of funny. Oh, yeah,
so the first time it's the setup, and it's
the
setup and the delivery are the same thing.
He said the same thing twice. Oh, okay, yeah. And the third time is, now he's doing a repetition thing. Okay. And the fourth time is, yet another variation on that. Oh, now what is he doing? And the fifth time is like, is he going to say it again? Is he gonna, and you kind of want him to a little bit. And the sixth time is like, okay, still on this. So you're getting bits of sort of ups and downs.
Well,
if you're comedic, if you're good at it, you can sort of manage those and use your timing and make it work.
Yeah, I can recall several things, small jokes that they did throughout the course of like the Family Guy series, where they just keep. That's being a very nice example where it's funny because he hurt himself, and then it's going on. It's like, okay, yeah, he's doing the same thing, and then it gets back to funny because he's been doing it for so long, and then it's like it kind of cycles back and around between funny and not funny depending on how long you go. So you have to figure out how long is like that cycle lasts before, because you always want to end on the high note. You don't want to end it off as like, okay, it sucked. Oh, finally they're done with it. Okay, next scene.
So I guess it's a difference between discrete and continuous humor. Discrete humor being the attaboy, Luther, where the first time is the setup, the next time is the delivery, but also the setup for the next delivery, which is the setup for the next, and so on. Whereas the... I suppose that could also be discrete, because every time he says it is he going to do it another time? He did. Another time? He did. Another time? He did.
He's still going. He's still going.
You go use the bathroom, you come back, and he's still doing it? And then it's funny again, because but you're right, you need to know when to stop it. An example of where they fail is I think Anchorman 2. Like, all the jokes, they just took a little too far and then stopped it. They stopped on a downswing on most of them. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, I think it's actually kind of funny there, but it still, I think, plays on expectations and then subverting them. Someone says something. Okay. Someone says the same thing again in a different setting. Okay. Someone says the exact same thing in another different setting. That's kind of funny. And then again in a setting where they shouldn't even be. Yeah. And then again, I think you need to keep changing it every time. And then someone else says it. And then maybe he says it to that guy. And then I think a series like the really popular ones that do stuff like that are I think Archer does that a lot. It keeps reusing the same in-jokes over and over. You really needed to watch the series from the beginning to really get why that's funny. It's because he keeps saying it.
Well, do you remember that Woody Harrelson movie with the bowlers and all that? Where they... I can't remember the name of it. It's got Woody Harrelson. he finds an Amish guy who knows really how to bowl, and Woody Harrelson's character's got he lost his hand.
Kingpin?
Kingpin, yes, it is.
Oh,
yes.
okay, I remember seeing bits of that.
And in which case they actually utilize the Attaboy Luther joke in there. So the joke has gone on so long, it's like decades later, and it pops in an entirely other unrelated movie. And
there's a character, what's his name, in Adam Sandler's movie.
You can do it!
Yeah, he does that.
Do it! That'd be the Rob Schneider, I believe, says it. And the character just keeps popping up in the different movies. You can do it.
Jeez, even another longer running example would be Bidum. Just that sound effect means it's a joke.
It's a bit of a vaudeville thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where it goes on so long. Another thing I was going to say that does something like that is Homestuck. I swear, the guy who created it, Andrew Hussey, he just, his only intention with the entire story and setting is, I want to make something that's as self-referential as possible, because stuff just keeps happening. The exact same setting in a different scenario. And that's one of the jokes. Starts off, someone falls down some stairs, and they fall down a lot of stairs, and they keep falling, because it's just a looped gif of this is what happens. Mm-hmm. And the joke there is, it keeps happening, because that was mentioned in a comic within the comic earlier, and that's repeated again throughout the series. It keeps happening.
But would that be a reference itself to the Don Hertzfeldt short of Rejected, where they have a baby fall down a long flight of stairs?
I don't know if it's directly referencing that, but he might have gotten the idea from that. But I don't know if it's well known enough to be...
Don Hertzfeldt's Rejected
is
pretty... That thing is meme-tastic.
So good. Oh, parts I would quote if I didn't want to. Or, I want to keep this PG. So
yes,
something is bleeding.
Well,
anyways,
I would bleep it out anyways.
Oh, yeah, but we're gonna try and make sure he stays good. We don't want to have to bleep him good.
I don't want to give you more work. So.
But here's the big thing though. Like when you're working with something like that in a campaign setting, you don't always have the same opportunities to present it in a new field. Sometimes it's like, dude, you made a comedic character. Now you got to be the comedic character every time, and let's hope you don't get stale.
Well, I did that. I played a jester from one of my campaigns. His actual his gimmick was the fact that he had a little talking jester scepter with ventriloquism. And while I was role-playing him, I had a sock puppet on my hand that I had from before, and it's like, oh, I'm going to use my sock puppet for this.
It's a prop.
Exactly, except I didn't just use it as a prop. I role-played outside, as myself. I had Socko playing Lint, the Jester Scepter, and me playing Lester, the Jester. Leslie, but call him Lester. And it worked. But it also kind of worked because I couldn't come up with good jokes on the spot, so it just became, it's funny because he's not funny. And I think the way we ruled it is his inspire courage was his jokes are so bad, you just want to get the battle done quicker, so he'll stop.
Okay, yeah.
It was actually kind of funny because later on the Justice Scepter gained sentience and started wandering around and stuff. And anyways, it was one of my best characters. I really loved it, but actually going back to earlier, I really like the archetype of jester, just as the idea, like classical jester. Mm-hmm. They were either just a bumbling idiot who just King just laughs at them because they're doing stupid stuff, but a lot of jesters were actually pretty political because they were the only person who could say stuff like that. Anyone else says, that's a stupid idea, you're dead. The jester, the fool, he's allowed to say it, because don't take too much meaning into it, he's an idiot. He's paid to do that. Yeah. So he could just make a joke about, wow, your decision to invade this kingdom, that was the stupidest thing you've ever done. And he wouldn't get killed for it. King would probably write it off.
Depending on a bad day.
Well, a good jester walks a fine line.
Well, a jester, too, he can say, even an idea he thinks is actually good, he can say, sure, feed all the orphans. That's a great idea.
Exactly. What are you going to feed them? Other orphans?
And he plays it off as a joke, but at the same point, he still said it. That idea was still presented, and the king still heard it. He was effectively an unofficial advisor to the king. You run it by the fool, he's free to say whatever he wants, and he can say, that's a stupid plan, and you can brush it off as the king, without losing face, as saying, no, don't kill him, he's just an idiot. But you still got that input of, well, maybe that was a stupid idea. I'm not going to say it to everyone, but maybe I'll rethink how I'm dealing with this. So the really good jesters in history were pretty political and walked a fine line to not get killed.
Well, I mean, that kind of happens when you've got the person who absolute authority that you're like occasionally mocking. It might be best to mock the other members of the court.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
that way the
what
king
happened
can laugh at them.
in Game of Thrones.
Spoiler alert.
I guess this will be...
Everyone died!
If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, I'm only going to pick out one scene, but it's concerning the court jester. There is a character who insults one of the kings, and that particular king... the guy wasn't a jester before. He was a drunk, or I think he was a knight, and he was not very good.
Sir Osis of the Liver.
He failed the king in some way. I can't remember even how, and it doesn't matter. But he failed the king in some way. He was embarrassed. And the king was like, "Okay, I'm going to have him killed." And then somebody else in the court, I don't remember who it was, but so it doesn't matter either, because that might be a spoiler too. Somebody else in the court says, "No, have mercy on him. Don't kill him. Make him your court jester." And so this political appointment goes to somebody who the king would otherwise, for some reason, maybe that person's connected to another family, or maybe somebody the king likes called for mercy or something. For some reason the king feels, I can't get rid of this person politically, but if I turn them, if I make their job to be the jester, they can still say the same things that they've been saying. They can still be like the buffoon they were, but now they actually have a role for that, and now I can keep them on a tight leash, because apparently they can't. Yeah, for some reason they're prevented from killing them or banishing them or whatever they have to do. So that's how you can get one form of jester, is they're almost drawn into it because of the things that they say, rather than just having the role of jester to start and then being given license to say things. It's the other way around. It's saying things and then, okay, well now you're the jester because you've been saying these things.
Yeah, true. I mean, if they value it and want to keep the guy around.
So the concept of being a jester is a meritocracy?
Well, I don't know if I'd say that.
Could be.
I mean,
one way of doing it.
Jesters, yes, they were relatively protected because you couldn't kill them, but I think at times they would also get treated pretty badly.
It's very easy.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they're not funny enough,
if
they're not funny enough, you throw stuff at the jester until it becomes funny.
Yeah, and I think people would think, I can get away, I can kick this guy, or I can, threaten him or like hurt him, and because he's the jester, no one cares.
Mind you, this was back in an age where bear baiting was considered a really appealing, like event to go see, along with hangings. So clearly things have changed a little bit mentally that way.
Yeah.
You know what? I really do love you, dear. I'm going to do something special. I'm going to take you down on Sunday, and we're going to see all the hangings. They got 7 hangings on Sunday. I'm going to take you out, and we're going to see all of them, and just because I love you. We're going to go. We're doing something special. We're going to watch all the hangings.
Yeah.
I've been told there might also be a decapitation. Because, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But if a ring pops out of his neck, that means I love you that much.
Oh, boy. What a proposal.
I can be a romantic in any era. See, all you really need to do is have, the executioner just kind of, chop the head off and then just kind of throw the ring out towards her and say, guess what came out?
What's that behind your ear?
So your jester character,
Yes.
Was there serious moments too with that character ever?
Oh yeah, he ended up losing his jester scepter because it was a club with the returning property. The DM gave me special permission to just keep adding stuff to this item. It was an item familiar by I think 3rd edition, 3.5 edition rules.
Okay.
Which is how it gained sentience later, but you just kept adding abilities by basically sacrificing skill points and all this, and putting them into the item. You got more back, but if you ever lose the item, you don't get any of it back. Mm-hmm. It's all in this one item. And it was his weapon that he threw away. So, naturally the DM decided, okay, well let's have some fun with this. So he ends up tossing it at a kobold or a swimming... I think it was a Sahagin or something, and it ends up catching it, and then swimming away. And he's just and just mental breakdown. He couldn't function without that part of his personality. The jester himself, the character was lawful neutral, I think chaotic neutral.
Okay,
jester.
sure, yeah.
The Jester himself was chaotic good, but the Jester's scepter was chaotic evil. Effectively, on whole, he was a neutral character, but only really kind of by segmenting his personality. So when he lost that, he effectively just lost part of his mind and was completely useless. I mean, in game terms, he was seriously hobbled by losing that item, but he was further hobbled by role-playing, by him just deciding, no, he can't do anything until he gets that thing back. That's effectively his best friend in the entire world that he just lost by throwing him away.
Okay. Because, I'm intrigued by this idea that you can have a gimmick and, like, create something as a joke, and then laugh at it for a little bit, but then, you can actually, you can say, okay, that's now the reality, and now we explore what happens to this character as a person who, yes, we laughed at them for a minute, but now, okay, what else? Let's tell a story.
Like, this guy's an intelligent smiley face, or this is a, like, half-sized, kleptomaniac,
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much mileage you'd get on the Star Thug system, because humor is from unexpectedness, basically. You need to have something unexpected to laugh at it. So after a while, you know all the races. You know all the stupid stuff they do, their stupid backgrounds, their silly philosophies, and after a while, isn't it just going to be, this isn't funny anymore. Like, how many dragons can you kill in D&D before it's no longer that big of a thing? I mean, I haven't really fought or killed many dragons in D&D. Not like any big, hefty adult dragons. Those are past challenge rating 20. But at the same time, it loses its gravitas, its importance, or its dramaticness after it's used up a little bit.
Well, if you're just talking about just in the abstract, just dragon fight, how many dragons have you fought? But once you actually get into the story and you care about the character, and this is what we were talking about 5th edition, when you get a bit of character background and you say, there wasn't this particular dragon in their backstory, and it's maybe they have dragon blood, so they're actually looking at an ancestor of theirs or something like that.
So it's not just any dragon. Which dragon is
it?
It's Who is that dragon?
Yeah.
I agree, actually. Fleshing it out more, if you keep going in more depth, you basically decide which way to take it. You can decide, okay, well, this is meant to be epic and dramatic, so let's have some twisting backgrounds and plot lines in there. Oh, it's cool. Or if you're doing Star Thugs, you can just add more ridiculous, stupid, funny, inane details as you go along. You need to add more new stuff.
Well, that's it. I mean, there's also like a lot of area in that campaign where you could go with satire. Mm-hmm. Well, they effectively had the Sanctus Galactica, which was kind of like space Christians. So anytime you see something in the news about, like a crazy, like religious church sort of thing doing something stupid, you could like make that, like as a satire in like an adventure of yours.
That's cool. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think in Star Thugs. Star Thugs.
Like a thug amongst the stars.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to worry about, like, making a joke a minute. If this is going to be a D&D campaign, for example, you're not a stand-up comedian. The Dungeon Master is not there to just entertain the players. Like, they have to give back, and a game setting is just what it is. There's some funny stuff, and there's some serious stuff, and there's whimsical stuff, and there's sort of a balance of a lot of different things. You don't necessarily have to have the pressure on to always come up with something new and funny. It just tell a story in this world that happens to have a few funny bits in it, and I think just through the process of that, you're gonna also hit other funny locuses of comedy as you go, and you'll think of stuff.
Well, I think that, goes back to my core principle of funny is you can't force it. Sometimes you just got to let it flow. The more you try and force comedy, the worse it gets. And I've seen some forced comedy where it's like, you guys were really, really trying too hard. And it's like, if you had let it flow, if you had let the whole thing go smoother, it would have been hilarious. Yeah. But no, you forced it, and it's like you squeezed the lemon too hard.
Well, it's all effectively improv. I mean, a lot of comedians, like good comedians, like Jerry Seinfeld, Louis C.K., they prepare their stuff. They think about this, decide that's a good joke, that's a bad joke. I like that joke. I haven't finished that one yet. I'll save it. They give you their best stuff. That's been worked through and rehearsed. When you're playing D&D, it's improv. And if you look at improv, the only improv I can think of that is consistently funny be whose line is it anyway? And you think, that's not actually all off-the-cuff improv. It's edited. Everything they do is improvised, but all the stuff that really just didn't kind of work, or maybe they had to censor too much of it because one of them just went off the rails, could be funny, but they just couldn't use it. A lot of it was edited. And since actually that series has come back, and as far as I can tell, they didn't really edit anything. They decided, we'll do this, and this. These 4 or 5 things. And they didn't have anything to cut. They just used everything, and it fell short in some areas.
I don't know. I found
some of their skits just didn't... They were still really good. I mean, they're world-class improv comedians.
Well,
I find
and the current station allows them to get away with a lot of other stuff that, you know, the old one wouldn't. And so they're able to... When what would have been cut beforehand was what was funny, they're able to put that in. So it's
true.
It's
so a little bit of give, a little bit of take there, yeah. But I think with D&D, when it's improv, you kind of have to let everything be available. You have to, if a comedic moment or a comedic opportunity comes up, your players have to feel like they can tell a joke. They don't have to always tell jokes. Depending on what the setting is, maybe you want to cut down on the amount of jokes. Mm-hmm. But also, you should be able to, if a dramatic opportunity comes up, play to that. Comedic, play to that. Do whatever's appropriate for that setting. It serves the story. But, like, I don't know, I find that my group tends to lean a little bit towards silly, too much so that it kind of ruins some of the dramatic opportunities where there could be actual character development, actual role-playing of what is this character feeling at this point. For example...
Bloodthirst.
Yeah, there we go. For example, most recent campaign that we're playing, one of the characters is a jester, again, a bloodthirsty jester. They're generally happy and they just have no regard for life. They're chaotic evil, but they just don't go around killing everyone. It's not worth their time. They really just don't care. They'll kill anyone who kill anyone who calls them a jester. They don't like that. That's kind of funny. And there's certain other things that'll set him off, but for the most part, wasn't disruptive. But he was still kind of a silly character. Though, actually, the way he's been played, there are some actual dramatic developments after that. And there was another character who thinks he's a god. My character, I didn't actually give him much of a personality. I kind of focused too much on the numbers for him. And one of the characters was adventuring because her village was burnt down. And she wanted to find the goblins who did it and kill them. You know what? It's not really silly. That's actually kind of a legitimate, good revenge story for a character.
Well, a little petty. I mean, it should have been a dragon burning down the village. That way you get better loot.
No, that's true.
Ah.
So, a little petty, but, a good backstory that you could work off of, and there could be good plot points and good ties off of that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, everyone else, or at least those two characters, a guy who thinks he's a god and the jester, they get drunk, run around the forest trying to drop kick a deer because they can run like 3 times as fast as everyone else, and they just do their own thing. And it's like, wow, they look like they're having fun. So what her character ended up doing was later on just ended up deciding, you know what? I'm fairly certain it was orcs that burnt down my village. Hey, that's a fire elemental. I bet you they burnt down my village. They just sort of took their serious backstory and turned it into a joke. And I feel like there was some actual good dramatic role-playing that could have been done there, and she kind of sacrificed that to have fun in the short term. Yeah, I think she made a good choice. It fit more in with the way the campaign was going, but all of our campaigns tend to go that way. And I feel that it undermines some of the role-playing parts of it.
What if the comedy had gone the other way? What if she just kept adding stuff that the goblins did to destroy the village? What if it wasn't just that they burned down the village? Later on she adds that they salted the fields so that nothing would ever grow. And then she adds other things on top of another. And then, they turned it into a salt mine, so they had to get all the salt back out again. And then they add other things, one on top of another, all the horrible things that the goblins kept doing to the village. And that's why she's trying to get revenge on them. She just keeps piling on, like, travesty upon misfortune until it becomes like an ice cream sundae of hilariousness.
See, I like that. The point of going too far where it becomes funny again. It doesn't discount the dramaticness. All of that happened. It's quite feasible that these were just really horrible goblins. They just keep doing all these things, and it would still allow for comedy and also role-playing and dramatic stuff. But at the same time, on the other hand, what she ended up doing like, I don't know, she just basically sort of played off her backstory. And actually what ended up saving my character from being kind of bland with no real character development was not paying attention and a bad roll of the dice. We were in a dungeon. We were fighting an animated carpet. Wrapped up the jester, so we tried to, of course, kill the carpet. The lightning, of course, just attacked the carpet. The punches from the monk and the attacks from the sword, well, he just didn't take the dungeon serious. It wasn't a very serious sort of dungeon. It was kind of a joke dungeon, but I killed him. I killed that player character. From then on, he was like, oh, I guess I really shouldn't just be answering all of my questions with attack it with my sword. Because that's what all of his numbers, abilities, and feats were geared towards. Kill stuff with a sword really well. He did that, and it ended up killing an ally. And then there was a good stretch of time where he actually changed his alignment to lawful good. He felt super bad about killing, admittedly, this kind of reprehensible and horrible person, but they didn't do anything to him specifically that merited him killing him. It was a senseless act of violence that was on his shoulders. Eventually brought the guy back, and now that that's done, I'm thinking of actually retiring the character because he's back to boring again.
So, did you get experience for killing the player character?
No, we didn't.
Then why bother changing your alignment?
It went well with the role play.
I felt really bad for giving a level for killing you, but if I bring you back, can I try it again? I want another level.
Well, it actually became a joke after that, because I actually did legitimately feel bad about killing one of my friend's characters. He really liked the character and had some good progression for him, and had to have him, like, out of the level gaining part of the game for a little while there. So I actually did set back his progress with that character, so I felt bad about it. Naturally, I dealt with that with a joke. You know, next email, like, okay, so we're going here again. Nick, please let me know in advance what your new character is, who they are, what their abilities are, specifically their weaknesses. No reason. No reason at all. And it just became an on-running joke that I would kill Nick's character.
So the next time he comes back, he's playing a goblin. A goblin that likes to burn villages.
Oh,
so then he just winds up playing the person that keeps dying from various other characters and their flaws.
That could be delightfully comedic.
I should take a moment to mention that we have email address for those listeners out there who want to...
Josh and I do. I mean, Jay's not part of that sort of thing. He doesn't.
I don't have email addresses.
Oh, well, I could forward the email. Oh,
I don't have a phone or any electronics. I live in the forest under a wall.
I'll have to print out any emails we get, like fan.
Can you send it by smoke signal?
We've been getting all this fan letters about Jason and people.
Don't let it go to his head.
Damn.
But yeah, they can send messages to thesimulationist@gmail.com. You can also comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thesimulationist, or comment on our YouTube page, youtube.com/thesimulationist. Support us on Patreon. Look up The Simulationist on Patreon.
Basically, Google, Bing the Simulationist. You'll find where we are.
Yeah, and leave reviews on iTunes and Stitcher and anywhere else our podcast is found, and we would greatly appreciate that. And if you do enjoy it, also possibly you have friends who also might enjoy the podcast, and they will thank you profusely for introducing you to this fabulous show, which has hundreds of hours of back material that you can
days of listening.
Indeed, enough almost for a trip to Mars. That's what we're trying to get.
Ultimately, I guess that's the thing, though. It's like the longer we keep producing iterations, the better the chance of someone coming up with a new propulsion technology that'll cut it down. So it's like, we're almost there. We made like enough stuff so that they're halfway for listening to Mars, and all of a sudden, bam! It's like now it's 3 times the length of Mars. No one going to Mars is going to listen to all of our podcasts back to back because it's taken such a short time.
Well, if it's that quick to go to Mars, you might go there a few times. Listen to it over multiple trips.
But yeah, that is the downside to getting so much stuff, is eventually technology is going to supersede it, and then it's like, oh, now you can't do it over like one long, like plane flight, because they got a better plane now. It goes Mach 7, not Mach 5.
Yeah, so we should get final thoughts on this topic, because we got to wrap it up soon. On the
Jay, I believe you get first say for your final thought on comedic relief. Stories, campaigns, games, and novels.
Oh, geez, we covered a lot to really sum up. We just sort of went into like the philosophy or the theory behind what is.
Yeah, we kind of went way off there.
Well, I
mean, it's necessary. It's like what we were talking about.
I think you can't realize the role of comedic relief without realizing where the comedy's coming from. Sort of thing. But yeah. What's your final thought on using comedic relief in an otherwise serious sort of campaign?
I think to have comedy, you have to have parts that aren't funny. I mean, if you try to be funny all the time, it's just not funny. Well, probably not, unless you're a really good comedian. Mm-hmm. But given that it's improv, I think it boils down to you need to allow comedy, but don't try to shove it in at every single turn. It's going to wear thin eventually.
It works well as a lesson for romance and a lesson for comedy.
Topical, because it's a joke.
Alright, so what's your thought there, Josh?
Yeah, I guess, I still don't like leading with a stupid thing. Mm-hmm. But I recognize it has to happen sometimes. I don't like leading with a race that's all happy faces that like to kill people. That's just not my cup of tea. But I'm okay with it happening from time to time, as long as you kind of take one step after that and say, okay, what is this really about? You can tell more jokes, And I'm not saying I'm against comedy, because I like jokes. And maybe I am against comedy. No, I like comedy. I like the jokes. But yeah, I like leading with something a little bit more serious, and leading with something like, grand adventure. And then from there you can make little jokes, and because jokes are going to happen anyways, too.
Well, I mean, you get 4 or 5 people together, for a nice night of fun. I mean, if a joke doesn't happen, I mean, you're either playing a really deep, serious campaign, or it's a pretty depressing time.
No, so lead with what you want the general overall theme to be. Yeah, it's a good idea. Also,
yeah,
I think so. The jokes don't even have to be in game. You can just say something stupid like, "My character says this." Everyone has a laugh, but no, that didn't.
But not really.
No, my character didn't say that.
Yeah. No, not really. I want to keep my stats. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think ultimately layers is the solution. Because any joke can get old and kind of stupid and lame if you try and keep using it every time, all the time. So yeah, you start off with the race of they're sentient smiley faces, but then you get on to the whole thing about actually they're causing immense ecological devastation on any planet they wind up taking over, and they've got enough firepower to take over numerous planets in the area. So it's it's kind of depressing. And then you go back to something funny about what they do, and then you go back to serious, and then you go back and forth, and that way the comedy never has the chance to get too old, and you've always got that contrast to work with, and the seriousness works as a setup towards the comedy again. And I think that's the way, if you're going to have a persistent comedic effect in there, it's best to do it that way. 'Cause, like I say, when it comes to Kender, a lot of people have read them, but very few people know how to play one. And the secret, I believe, to playing one effectively is not, being the goof all the time, but to try and play, the innocent aspect, and then the goofiness comes out of that. So you've got your innocent and your goofy layers going on, and that's how you keep it from getting to oh God, Kender in the campaign. I am out. I'm not playing with them. I just hate them. I hate anyone playing it. You got to do it right. You got to do it through layers, and that's how you keep the fun, and you keep the game moving.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Well, thank you, all our listeners, for listening. Thanks for joining us, Jay, once again. And great. And so I've been Josh Gillette.
I've been Ryan Kirkby.
I have been and always will be Jason Kirkby.
Okay, cool.
See you in 7 days.
Same money.
So do you seriously get a lot of family?